In this video, I'm going to give you 5 paddle tactics that you can use in your game and win more matches with. Let's get into it. All right, the first tactic that we're going to do today is an attacking combination. So this is kind of like the bread and butter when you're at the net position, is that you've got to play a forehand volley down the middle, and then the next shot has to be the forehand volley to the corner. So this is a very simple and basic combination, but you'll be surprised how many players forget to do this. It's quite an obvious thing just to play middle and then corner. Then obviously you can go corner and then back to the middle again, but this needs to be every single time you're at the net position, first volley down the middle, move the opponent and then play the ball back into that space. If you watch any of the pro game, you'll see them doing this all the time. The great thing about this as well is once you've done it to the middle and the corner, then you can switch it and go corner to the middle, but then you can also double up. So for example, you could go down the middle, the opponent then knows you're going to the corner, and then you can go back down the middle again. So when you're at this net position, it's not just about hitting that ball back into play, it's about trying to create spaces and trying to move your opponent around. And this combination is absolutely essential to do. The best paddle players always play their volleys and attacking play with a lot of intent and purpose. So a great thing is to always start with that first forehand or backhand volley straight down the middle to move the opponent, and then you play straight into the space that you've just created. Before we get on to the second tactic, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're finding this video helpful. It's free, it takes just 1 second, and it helps us make more videos just like this. Let's go into tactic number 2. The next tactic is another combination. This one you're gonna do at the back of the court. One of my absolute favorites is to play the lob. The opponent moves back, then probably plays a bandeja, comes back in, they play back to you, and then you play a short one. You can play like a chiquita, or you can just play a short ball, and the idea is you're moving your opponent backwards and forwards, you're tiring them out. When the opponent does play that bandeja and then you play that short one, then you also have the opportunity maybe to push the net from that. But another thing you're doing is you're stopping them from attacking, because if they've moved back and they're rushing in and they're playing a short one, they're usually going to meet that volley quite low down and then they cannot attack. Again, the great thing with this combination is you can then double it up, so you can change it around. You can play a lob, the opponent then thinks I've got to rush back in because he's going to play short, and then you can double it up with another lob, and usually it's a very, very effective way of winning the net position. This tactic allows you to be in control in defense of the attacker, move them around and get them tired. I find this tactic to work especially well late game, because usually the players are more tired, so their movement isn't as good, and the balls are older, so they can't do the smash. They're having to constantly play bandejas and volleys that are more floaty. They're not going to want to miss, and you can just keep moving that opponent at the back of the court. Allows you to rush in. All right, I'm stealing this next tactic from Coach Dan Troy, who me, Stan, and a lot of other UK players have weekly sessions with. This is zone 1, zone 2, and zone 3. Very simple concept, and I'll explain it now. Zone 1 is the area between the net position here and the net. So this area here, basically the ball coming in below the net. This would be zone 1. Zone 2 would be above net height at me here, and would probably be between here and the white line just here as well. And then finally, zone 3 would be behind the white line. So let's imagine you are in defense and you're playing against me. When you get an easy ball, you would want to play either zone 1 or zone 3. So zone 1, because it's below the net, stops me from attacking balls that have come down here. And zone 3 would be the lob on the white line. When you're under pressure and you have a difficult ball, that's when you play a zone 2 shot, which will just be at the body or at their backhand. And it's basically just returning the ball, not trying to play a lob, and not trying to play a nice chiquita as well. The idea is that in defense, you're just trying to win the net position or just survive. So if you're getting tough balls and you're under a lot of pressure, you just play zone 2. If you get an easy ball, that's when you go, right, I've got to try and win the net. So you play zone 1, chiquita, to try and push in, or zone 3, which is the lob. A lot of the time when we get an easy ball in defense, we just hit the ball hard with no real purpose or intent behind it. We're just trying to hit it hard at them. That's a big mistake. That would be a zone 2 shot, and the zone 2 shot should only happen when you're under a lot of pressure. You don't have to absolutely live by this rule, but it's a good general guideline for defense. For example, sometimes when I'm under pressure, I'll still play a lob, because otherwise my opponent would know anytime I'm under pressure, they're just going to move in. Tactic number 4 is to work on one player, and this is with your partner. So a big mistake that 2 players make at the net position is they will switch. So I will play to this guy over here, and then my partner on the right side will play to that guy over there. you need to work on one player. Now, this isn't a fridge. A fridge would be a different tactic where you'd work on one player for the entire game, but we're just talking individually in the points here to work on one side. So for example, if the first volley I receive, I play down into the corner. If that ball then goes back to me, I would then play down the middle for that attacking combination. If it goes to my partner, I'd want them to do the same thing. I'd want them to stay on one player and keep working on them until maybe you get under pressure, then maybe you change it up. But the idea is, it's much better to try and focus on one player and beat them rather than just constantly switching. Because otherwise what happens is you put one player under pressure, and then when the ball comes back to you and you switch to someone else, that player can then recover when you probably could have beaten them easier. Again, there's going to be some instances where you get maybe a really easy ball and it is best just to switch and play to the other person. But this is mostly applied when you're at the net position and you're getting, fast volleys or maybe a quick lob. You want to stay on that one player to try and break them down. By the way, guys, if you're after a new paddle racket or any new equipment, check out my online paddle store, Everything Paddle. I've got a racket quiz on that website where you can answer a few questions and it will narrow down the options for you. If you're in the UK as well, you can also contact me personally for specific advice on rackets. All right, the final tactic is going to be all about this middle part of the court. This again is something that a lot of players forget. It's funny, as we improve, we often forget the basics when really the best paddle players often have the basics just mastered perfectly. So let's talk about this middle. We're going to be using the phrase reset middle or reset the rally. When you're under a little bit of pressure in the point or the rally's going on for a while, our instinct is to hit harder and harder and really try and kill the point. When really some of the best things to do, especially when you're under pressure or you feel like the point is going away from you, is just to reset the ball back down the middle again. So reset middle is the two words I want you to really think about. On the first tactic I spoke about today, that first combination was volley down the middle, volley to the corner. So if we reset the ball down the middle in a rally, that straight away should open up space to play that attacking combination again. I'm talking mostly at the net position here to reset down the middle, but also if someone did a big lob and you played an overhead, I'd also reset down the middle. If you was at the back of the court, you could play a nice high lob down the middle as well, just to reset the rally, give yourself some time to recover, and also create a little bit of space for you to play the next ball into. Something that we forget, as the rally goes longer and longer, we always want to go for the next big shot and think we have to hit harder and kill it. But the best thing to do is reset the middle and go again with our strategy. Thanks so much for watching this video, guys. If you did enjoy it, make sure to subscribe. And if you want to see a short video on how to return off the sidewall, then you can click the video that's coming up on the screen right now.